Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Today you'll be listening to a presentation from myself, Corey Ortiz, Andy Dutton, and Kevin Losher. Today's presentation focuses on creating a robust and comprehensive pathway that leads from the elementary level up into the skilled workforce or university. There are lots of reasons why we want to create a comprehensive pathway leading from the elementary level all the way up to post-secondary education or into the workforce. The first and foremost reason being that we need to be preparing students for the local workforce. All of the companies around us look to the school district to help fill their employment needs. And right now we are in a booming economy. We have lots of companies that are looking for skilled workers. So they are looking to us to help educate these students and prepare them to be successful in their companies. There's also research that's tied to how CTE courses impact student graduation rates. And so there's research that indicates that the more CTE classes on a student's course load, the less likelihood the student will drop out. CTE in STEM also provides for a very unique opportunity to help contextualize what students are really learning in the classroom. So often teachers get the question, why do we need to learn this? And through a contextualized, comprehensive, and rigorous pathway, leading from the elementary to the secondary level, we can really contextualize and show students this is why you need those skills in math to be successful. And students learn this in a way that they can see, oh, this is why I need to learn about area or volume or density when it comes down to figuring out, say, mixed ratios for composite manufacturing layout. Pathways also help create a smoother transition across educational levels, so the transition from elementary school to secondary school and then from secondary to post-secondary. Our plan consists of 13 comprehensive steps that will involve all stakeholders. The plan first starts off with creating an advisory committee and then working through and identifying workforce needs, identifying equipment needs for targeted classes that we want to offer, and then we move to helping maintain the program by offering and creating a professional development catalog that will help teachers be better in their classes in terms of actually integrating STEM concepts. And then we move into creating a STEM magnet program here in the district. That will likely take place at the elementary level, and that would help feed the secondary and post-secondary level programs by getting the groups of students interested and engaged in STEM activities, and then moving them through into the rest of the pathway. From there, we want to create a STEM endorsement. This would be in collaboration with the local university. We want teachers to know how to integrate STEM into their practice. We really, truly want teachers to be integrating STEM either at the cross-disciplinary or the transdisciplinary level. We don't want science, technology, engineering, math taught in silos. We want them to be taught all together. Finally, the program ends with a program evaluation. And so what that would consist of would be identifying, are we actually meeting our goal? In order for a plan to really come to fruition, it takes a lot of work from a lot of different people. This plan enlists the help from district personnel, industry leaders, local university, as well as the local applied technical college. District personnel are essential for helping do a lot of the work behind the scenes. We need teacher specialists and curriculum specialists to help teachers align curriculum to really work with cross-disciplinary and transdisciplinary STEM concepts. We need industry leaders to help give us the vision as to who we or what we need to be preparing students to do out in the workforce. We need the local university to be on board to help with either cross-listing courses as concurrent enrollment or with the help of creating and implementing the STEM endorsement program. We also need the help of the local applied technical college because we need to be creating a program that allows students to achieve different types of certificates that are industry recognized that will prepare students for work out in industry. I will now take the time, or turn the time over to Andy Dutton, who will go over the next few slides.
Hello, my name is Kevin Lauscher, and I'm here to talk about the potential challenges of the implementation. First of all, industry, they may have a mixed reaction, and it depends on the need of a particular company. Some companies may approach us and be very welcome to getting involved with our action plan, while others may not be as welcome to that based on the needs of their company. Hopefully we'll reach out to those companies and we'll reach out to them and let them know the benefits of getting involved in such an action plan. On the industry side, it's also going to require time, money, interest in the actual industry, and it's going to require employees that are going to help out and lend themselves to the team to help us implement our action plan. As for the local university and the ATCs, the challenges they may have is based on federal and state funding. It depends on how the economy is doing. If the economy is doing well, there may be ample money in federal and state dollars to help support such a program to implement it. But at the same time, if the economy is not doing well, it may be hard to get some funding to get this program going. The current enrollment in those schools, if it's very high enrollment at the time, they may not have any time, staff, or facilities to lend in order to to help us out with our implementation plan. And that also goes with staff and facilities there. If they have a limited number of staffs, they will not be able to staff a position that will help to teach and to train, but also to help us out with expertise in developing our plan. Same with facility and spaces. If we are pushing our students and moving our students into our local university and ATC, they don't have the faculty that are willing to teach them or to be trained on it, they won't be able to help us out with our implementation plan. As for principals have some of the same challenges. They're going to have staffing issues. They're going to have to hire a teacher that is going to be adequate and enthusiastic, available to help us out, to help train us for these pathways. They're also going to have equipment needs, and so one of the ways that this could be solved is it could be solved through the donation of equipment from industry, but they can also have grants too that will help to purchase new equipment that will help students to be able to learn and to train on the different pathways. And then lastly, space. Most buildings have all the space allocated, and so you would have to carve out space and location in order for the classes to be taught. And then lastly, a potential challenge would be teachers. Any teacher that's going to be involved in these pathways is going to need training and professional development. The training may be industry training, but it also may be local professional development too. They're also going to have to be involved in the curriculum development. The curriculum directors will be helping out in the higher end, in the 9th through 12th grade, but when it comes to the pipeline and through the K through 8, there will have to be teachers involved with their existing curriculum in order to get that curriculum developed. And lastly, teachers are resistant to change. A lot of teachers have been teaching for a while. They know their curriculum, they know what works, and they know what they want to do. And sometimes it can be difficult to have teachers implement new parts to their curriculum. As for the communication plan, on the left-hand side here, the different teams are going to be meeting, and they are going to be providing updates to the CT director. The CT director is going to be your major point person here. The local university and ATC, the principals and the teachers, the curriculum development team, and the STEM coordinator, they will be providing updates on a weekly, monthly, on pretty much every time they meet to the CT director as to what they are doing and also to where they're going in the future. The CT director is then going to synthesize that information, and they are going to provide monthly updates via newsletters and through a website. The newsletter will be published monthly and on the website, and it will also be pushed out to all people who have signed up for that newsletter. However, for major milestones, those will be communicated through in-person meetings where the CT director and various representatives from the teams involved will be communicating what has been happening and also what will be happening in the future. As a part of that, they will also be creating streaming video, and they'll be hosting that on the website. This will provide an opportunity for anyone at any time to see the major milestones and to see where the project is going. And then lastly, the CT director, alongside the STEM coordinator and the curriculum development team, are going to be providing information and updates to the to teachers via professional development. Many teachers have professional development time built into their schedule on a weekly or monthly basis.
For our STEM advocacy plan, we chose to focus on a few specific things to help bring this forward, and some of the things that I'm going to focus on today are the timeline, the resources, and the overall evaluations of our action steps. The first step in our advocacy, and like I talked about, was the timeline that I was responsible for. So the timeline, we did some research and looked at other similar plans and decided to give ours a total time of 4 years to be implemented and in full action to start. And how we did this is we didn't want to start all of our action steps at once, so we decided to organize it into a Gantt chart, which is visible on our document, and you can see the detail there for that. So we staggered the starts of a lot of the action steps on there so that while some of them were wrapping up being completed, other steps in our action steps were beginning, and starting so that they could continue and it didn't seem too rushed or like there were too many things going on at once. And this proved to be pretty helpful in organizing that. For the resources, the three categories in here, the materials, the funds, and the personnel. As far as materials go, STEM is such a broad category and a broad curriculum. There's so many different areas of STEM. So we tried to divide up the resources based on LEAs deciding what resources were needed in their area. So for example, big purchases like equipment upgrades and things like that needed to be at the discretion of districts and schools within those districts on what was needed. An overall list of the materials that were needed for our STEM advocacy plan were based off of the skills identified and the competencies identified by our action committee, and also in correlation with the local districts and local schools. Funding, that kind of again goes along the same lines, so securing that funding kind of depends on the needs for the specific schools within districts that this plan is going to be implemented. Some of the schools may already have some of the equipment necessary, other schools may not. And for areas that may not, we are relying heavily upon local relationships with small businesses and companies for sponsorships or grants or donations, and if necessary, in some areas to rely on bonds for funding for some of those equipments that are needed for some of our STEM projects. And as far as personnel go, the advisory committee that we are formulating, we want to keep them involved in a good communication chain with LEAs and CTE coordinators within districts, principals, and teachers, so that we can all be on the same page as far as equipment needs and communicating those needs and identifying ways that we can get those equipment and consumable resources to the teachers that need them. And lastly, our evaluation plan. We broke this down into another chart that each step in our action plan was evaluated on each of the three categories for STEM literacy, STEM skills and competencies, and STEM workforce. This multi-level evaluation, we designed it to prove and provide a way for each one of those steps to be accountable for those three areas. Some of them were not applicable, but most of them in areas they were. And post-evaluation or implementation of this plan, we would go back through this evaluation plan and reevaluate certain areas that needed improvement. For example, as we broke this down, it was almost like a rubric for us to identify how each one of these steps in the action plan was implemented so that we could see and have evidence that each one of those was implemented.